I love this quote. It sort of underscores for me the differences between people. When you have only 2 pennies left in the world, buy a loaf of bread with one and a lily with the others. You know, some people have 2 pennies left and they just buy the loaf of bread, and some people have 2 pennies left and they buy the lily. But the proverb says,
I'm sorry, can you explain why they would want to buy a lily? Maybe that's a cultural thing, but I've never heard that before and I don't understand. Like, I get why they would buy the bread, but what?
That's a great question. Thank you. Why would you want to buy the lily?
It's
To
poetic.
enjoy life.
Enjoy life, it's poetic, it's
So
beautiful.
it's not like to plant the lily or like sell it or something?
No. I mean, could be. I could be. I can't, you know. But I think that sense of my life is not just about something that's utilitarian, you know, but it's about beauty. It's about, you know. Gerhard Hofstede, a very controversial character, has done some really powerful research, however. He talks about power distance. And let me ask you, well, let me define power distance. Power distance is the idea that differences in society are accepted by people. So if I am the boss and you are way down here, we don't even try to be equal. We accept that there's a difference. And so it's some societies, that high power distance societies, will say that's perfectly okay. That's the way things are supposed to be. Let's just have a reference here about where Morocco is in this. So Morocco is, well, I'll show you in a minute. So people are less likely to question the boss in a high power distance society. I don't question the boss. I know that you're the boss. Elitism is the norm in a high power distance society. But students question teachers. That's a low power distance. Freedom of thought is encouraged. That's low power distance. So this, you can look at these and you can say, well, this is the one. These are the ones I'm comfortable with, and these are the ones I'm not comfortable with. But what's important to acknowledge is that in different societies, there's sort of different levels of expectation. So, and this gives you some of the extremes. Slovakia, very high power distance society. Austria, very close to Slovakia geographically, very low power distance society. USA, sort of a little bit less than, this is the world average. So somewhat less than the world average. Morocco is 70. So Morocco's about here. So in Morocco, you may find that there's more, you probably will find that there's more acceptance of the idea that people are in different places, have different levels of power. Individualists and collectivists. I have this picture because it's in China, but there's some Americans that are very obvious in the middle of the picture. And China is known as being one of the more collectivist societies, and the U.S. as being incredibly individualist. Collectivist societies, people identify with a group. They identify with their family, they identify with their workplace, they identify with the group of people that they're with. They try for harmony within that group. Whereas individualist societies, every person for him or herself. So people answer the phone by giving the name of the organization. That's a group identification. Instead of saying, this is David, I say, this is World Learning. People give cocktail parties. Now, cocktail parties are an interesting example here. What do you think does that indicate? Individualist or collectivist? How many say individualist? How many say collectivist? It's an interesting thing because it's a group of people, but it's a group of people who are all behaving individually, usually. Now, when I was In graduate school, we gave potlucks for I was part of a commune, and we gave potlucks for the community. Way different from a cocktail party. That was a collectivist kind of thing. But the cocktail party, the idea is that people are acting as individuals within the cocktail party.
Even if they've come from, like, it's an all-worker party, sort of?
Well, that could be, there could be a collectivist
mindset,
change.
you were just using the work example, but...
Yeah, there could be you could have this is probably a stereotypical cocktail party. If you could have a group kind of event. We had, the IE faculty just went out for drinks before this class tonight. That was sort of we identify with each other. There was sort of a collectivist moment.
So, is that the reason why, like, when you write someone in China a letter, you write China first, and then their name is last?
You know, I don't know.
Or is that just a rule?
I think it's just a rule, but I don't know. That's an interesting question. Yeah. You know how on an envelope, you'll put China, and then you'll put the city or province, and then way down, yeah.
We end up working backwards on ours anyway. I just do it in the right order.
Yeah. Sample individualism scores. The most number one individualist country in the planet is the one we happen to be living in right now. The least individualist, most collectivist is Guatemala. And Morocco is 46, so slightly above the world average. So slightly more individualist. Now what you'll find in a lot of societies is they're going through a transition, moving from a collectivist to an individualist society. Masculinity and femininity, the idea that there's particular roles in place. Uncertainty avoidance. This is the idea that I want things to be clear and I don't want to take risks. So here's Hofstede's dimensions, and I misspelled Hofstede up there, I apologize. These are not meant to be, I did these in colors like this to kind of link the locations, but these are not linear relationships, or these are discrete points here. So I put West Africa on here for contrast because there are a lot of people who say, oh, Morocco, that's in Africa. All the African countries are the same. Well, I put Morocco, you'll see the purple and the blue lines differ quite a bit. We have a world average and a US average. So you can kind of compare on the individualism scale. You can see the US versus West Africa, a huge difference. Some places where they're fairly close on uncertainty avoidance. This is hard to read. Margaret Mead's quote, "As the traveler who has once been from home is wiser than he," Margaret Mead said, "or she, who has never left his or her own doorstep, so a knowledge of a different culture should sharpen our ability to scrutinize more steadily, to appreciate lovingly our own."
I said she's just full of little bits of wisdom. There's another quote from her about volunteering.
Yeah, and then never doubt that the ability of a small group of people to create change or whatever.
To change the world, and in fact,
Indeed,
it's only